First of all, I just wanted to say thank you very much to everyone who selected me for this honor. Obviously, it's a tremendous honor, so I'm very, very grateful. I figured, first of all, I'd talk a little bit about my recent trip to Houston. It was one of the best experiences of my life. Obviously, that was a tremendous honor in itself as well. And I felt like I was in elite company the entire time. And it was kind of nice being from little UMass that a lot of people don't hear about and don't necessarily see in the news all the time. So kind of felt very privileged, and that was a really big thing. So I was completely excited about that. I was lucky enough to have two of our assistant coaches, Jen and Allison, come down with me, as well as my parents and my youngest brother. So we all had a wonderful time, and the competition itself was very exciting. I didn't go in with necessarily that high of expectations, and that made it that much more exciting to win. So I was very happy to come back to UMass with that under my belt, and I know a lot of people watched, and a lot of people were very proud, and it just feels good to represent the university in that way. Houston was a beautiful city, spent a lot of time there, did sightseeing, was lucky enough to go to a couple of the NCAA men's games while I was down there, the semifinals. So that in itself, just a wonderful, wonderful experience. And like I said, I was just very excited to represent UMass in that way and be down there for all that excitement. Overall at UMass, I am just very excited and privileged to have received all the opportunities that I have through academics, through basketball, everything. I couldn't have asked for a better experience, and I know I'm going to be going into the real world with whatever I end up doing, with great things under my belt, and definitely a good knowledge of, or wealth of experience, and will be prepared with whatever I end up doing. I think my favorite part since I've been there has actually been this year. Not only because of my personal performances, but just because of the fact that we had a great team, we had awesome coaches. Couldn't have asked for anything better. I know we struggled, but we just had a great time, and didn't really let that get to us or bring us down. Also, I'm lucky to have so many people that I've met throughout my time here. Professors, coaches, teammates, academic staff, everyone has been so wonderful, fans, everyone, and I just, like I said, I've just been so privileged, and I'm grateful. I don't know what's next for me. Still trying to figure that out day by day, but my time is dwindling a little as graduation's only about a month away. But we'll see what happens, and I'm sure I'll end up doing something I love somehow with all these connections that I've made, and the people that have helped me get to where I am today. So I'm just very grateful, and I appreciate all of your support. So thank you very much.
We're here, obviously, as Dave mentioned, to talk about Cerie, and obviously I've been asked to talk about Cerie's basketball accolades. And David mentioned a lot of her statistical categories and how much she has meant to the UMass women's basketball team. And I'll list just a few of those. Obviously, I don't think it was mentioned, she was a tri-captain for us this season. She was the only player on her basketball team that started every single game this past season, 30 games. And as most of you know, basketball is such a long, enduring season. Just to be able to be healthy enough to do that takes a lot of mental and physical ability, and that's the true testament of Cerie's character. Obviously, with her, she did lead the team and the entire conference, shooting 86% from the free throw line. I'm going to round up her, because as coaches, we always like to round up. So shooting 50% from the three-point arc is just a tremendous accomplishment. And to go beyond, she shot 58% in the entire A-10 conference. So, and both are single-season records to date. So just a extremely great accomplishment. With Cerie, I think stats don't define her. She's one of the most tremendous giving and hardworking players that I've ever coached and had the opportunity to coach. She obviously, when any student athlete has to go through a coaching change, it's one of obviously change and can be difficult. And I think as Cerie was a junior going into her last and final senior season, she had to obviously endure that and really get to know a new coaching staff. And I don't think I've gotten to know Cerie extremely well these past few months, and she never complained. You know, she embraced the change, and she was in her offices even before the summer season approached, just constantly asking not not for her, but what she could do to help the team, you know, succeed and get better. And I think with character, it's easy to show, you know, your great character, your positive side when things are going well. And obviously as a team, you know, I think most of you know we were rebuilding this year, and we didn't have the win-loss record that we would like to have, but I think it really showed Cerie's true character, and she's one that works hard every single day. She never takes a day off. She's probably the most selfless athlete I've ever met. She's never in it for her statistical categories. She's always in it for what she can do to help the team, help the coaches get better. And that's, to me, that's what defines college athletics. And she really is probably a true testament of what a student athlete should be. You know, just as we talk about not taking days off on the basketball court, you know, a lot of times we travel and get home extremely late. She doesn't take a day off in the classroom either. You know, and she's always that leader for us who became a vocal leader. And if any of you know Cerie, she's not, you know, she's not a vocal person per se, but she really embraced that role and knew that we were an extremely young team this year, and she was that vocal captain, that vocal leader, making sure as a team that we did the right things. And I think she helped a lot of her teammates along the way become better people and become better student athletes along the way. I think Cerie, obviously, with these awards, it's the only beginning for her. I think she's going to do special things, whatever she does decide to do, and she's getting a lot of interesting opportunities, whether that's going to be playing, as Dr. Wong said, overseas, possibly going into the college coaching world. But whatever she decides to do, she will obviously bless her personality and character onto those people. I think probably the biggest thing I could say, or the most special thing I could say about Cerie is we've gotten to know each other extremely well this year, and I have a 7-year-old daughter who she's babysat and spent a lot of time with, and to me that was so special because obviously in the college age, and you know, you're really busy, and she takes time out of her day every time she sees Logan, whether it's at school or at practice or when she comes over to the house, to spend a lot of time with a 7-year-old. And you know, just looking back, and obviously I have wishes and great aspirations for my daughter, but I can tell you one thing: if she grows up to be as mature and as special as Cerie, you know, I'll just be blessed. So Cerie, thanks for all your hard work, and just thanks for being here at UMass. Thank you.
Thank you. There's a lot of things I've wanted to do in life. Pole vaulting is not one of them. So, but congratulations to Tillman and Sean and Coach O'Brien. The coaches mean so much to the student athletes. Dave called me about a week ago and said, I'm going to have you come in and speak after the Red Sox win a game. And I got a call last night saying, well, you better get up here anyways because we're not going to wait for them to win. So Dave has asked me to talk about the NFL labor situation and the Barry Bonds. Sorry, my phone's ringing. I'm sorry. Oh, Coach Stevens, how are you? Great season, yep. You're looking for a shooter? Wondering if Cerie has any more eligibility. Okay. Well, as you can see, if any of you watched the men's and women's game last night, the women's game I thought was a better game. And they really shot well. I tell you, the effort was on all games, all 4 teams, was really 100%. I thought the women shot the ball better, and I thought it was a more interesting game. So it's interesting to see how far that game's developed. But I'm not here to talk basketball. I'm here to talk about the academic piece. And you know, let me give you the scouting report on Cerie. She was a student in my sport law course. It's called the Introduction to Sport Law. But a lot of times at the end of the semester, students will say, I thought this was supposed to be an introductory course, and I've done more work in this course than any other course I've had. And I do challenge them because I do take a coach's perspective on my course. And that is, I believe that the good coaches really push their student athletes, and what I like to do in that course is to push the students. And not so much that they're going to break, but to really challenge them and really get a sense of what they're like in terms of how they handle it. And I also try to get them interested in law, whether it's sports law and realizing that they're undergraduates and they don't all have the focus on doing a career in sports to maybe be interested in law school. And it's interesting because I go and I take a poll at the beginning of class, how many people are interested in going to law school or interested in law, and I'll have a handful of students, and then by the end of the semester, I usually have about 25% of the students say that they're interested in law or considering law school. So I had Cerie in class, and she would come to class, and it was a large lecture class, but you can really tell the students that are interested in being there. I mean, to some extent, the students think they're invisible, okay? Especially in a large lecture class, they think they can kind of disappear in there. But you do get a sense of who's paying attention, okay, who's involved in the class. And Cerie would come in every class. She would be there. She'd be there on time. And she'd be there with Megan Zullo. And they would take the class together. And in fact, it wasn't until I went to a women's basketball game that I found out that they weren't attached together, because they would always come into class together, but they were involved, they were interested. And as a result of that, we've had some conversations outside of the classroom. And those conversations oftentimes are about law, and Cerie inquired as to careers in law, careers in sports, and things like that. And you know, there are certain people who come in and know exactly what they want to do, and there are others who aren't quite sure. And you know, I think the opportunities are boundless for her. I'm not sure she's going to go to law school. I think based on what I've seen her in terms of her work, she can handle law school and do very, very well in law school. Since we're giving out grade point averages, I'll give out Cerie's. And Cerie's grade point average is, okay, 3.3. Threes are her specialty. And she did very well. Some of you are just waking up now, I understand. It's either that or I'm not very good. If you want to see the rest of it, I'm at the local comedy place at 11:30 tonight, but I'll understand if you're not there. But you know what it takes to be successful in the sports field is a combination of having the smarts, which she has, and a lot of other things, which is really interesting. You know, there was a faculty member, Harold Vanderswag, who started the sport management program. And even before fantasy baseball, how many people here play a fantasy baseball, football? Anybody? No? Not this generation? But okay, all right, that's all, I understand that. But you know the concept, right? Okay. Well, we used to do, Harold Vanderswag and I used to do fantasy sport management. Okay? And what that is at the end of every year, we'd lock ourselves in his office and say, okay, who is going to do well 15, 20 years from now? And we had, I beat him. I mean, he'll say that he beat me, but, because I think I had more hits. Our hit rate was about 98%. I mean, we really can get a sense of who's going to be successful. So it takes a combination of interpersonal skills, takes a combination of someone who does well, works hard. When I was going on a site visit this summer through the athletic department in the Boyden weight room, and I was feeling sorry for myself because I was in a suit in the middle of summer, I go in and Cerie's in there lifting weights. I didn't feel so sorry. She's working hard in the summer. You know, think of her road in terms of basketball. It hasn't been easy. Coaching changes, not always a lot of success on the basketball court. And it brings together all of the things that we like to talk about and the NCAA talks about in terms of student athlete. You take someone who's a good student, you take the things that they learn from adversity, from being stretched, from being challenged, from dealing with team situations, and when you can add that on top of a good student and a smart student and a good person, then really the opportunities are very, very open. So, you know, I can see her being very, very successful. Sarah, I'm putting the pressure on you right now. I don't know what it's going to be. It could be to go back to Brad Stevens. It could be starting off in one thing. He was doing pharmaceutical sales and then going into coaching. So it could be coaching. It could be playing basketball overseas. It could be law school. You're doing work now in the marketing department, in the athletic department. It could be in that area. Really, it's really whatever you want to do. And what you have to think about is that things will change 15 or 20 years from now. To hear the ESPN announcer, Doris Burke, doing the color commentary for men's basketball, you would not have seen that 5 or 10 years ago. So when I say, hey, you could be a general manager of a team, I'm not talking about WNBA, I'm talking WNBA and NBA, because things are changing out there. So, you know, it's really a pleasure and honor for me to be here and to be able to introduce Cerie. And I want to congratulate her, and instead of cheering, then all you got to do is go like this. And also I wanted to thank the Dave and the Sports Luncheon Committee for putting this together. This is a very, very important day and event. Thank you.
Sean wanted me to extend his regrets for not being able to be here, but it's probably the single injury that would have kept him away, because, you know, I'm sure a pulled muscle would allow him to come. A headache probably wouldn't have been a problem, but his stomach is not letting him keep anything down, so to come to the dinner and then have to receive the award might be the only thing that would keep him away. But he wanted to make sure that he said his heartfelt thanks to the committee that selected him, and all of the good experiences he's had here. I'm sure he'll bring with him as great memories from UMass. But Sean also was voted or selected to be the Atlantic 10 Male Scholar Athlete of the Year this past February, I think it was. Where basically all the male athletes in the Atlantic 10, regardless of the sports they compete in, are compared, and he received that award as well. So he's well decorated in terms of his athletic accomplishments, and obviously I'm sure he's more than equally proud of his academic accomplishments. Professor Wolf was right on when he talked about how cool and calm under pressure Sean is. He has several qualities and traits, I think, that serve him well in both the classroom and in the athletic arena. He's a really dedicated person. If you're a pole vaulter and you go home in the summertime and you know that when you go back to school you're going to be trying to vault 16 feet or something, then you really need to make sure you do your homework. So you can't go home and lay around the beach and turn the radio on and drink pina coladas and, you know, put on 15 or 20 pounds or something and come back and then try to get yourself back into shape in a short period of time, because not only would your athletic accomplishments suffer, but you could be seriously injured or hurt. So he's always gone home, taking care of business, comes back and is always in better shape and a better athlete than the time he left us. So dedication is a real big thing for him in terms of his successes, I'm sure. He's organized. You can't be an engineering student and be a pole vaulter especially, and try to shave corners or cut corners during the course of a week or a month. You've got to plan where the demands of your season are. You know, some meets are more important than others. Some meets you're going to be on the road. You have to know what your class responsibilities are going to be. Get that work done ahead of time in conjunction with your professors so that you can go on the road or make up your work when you get back. And, you know, he's always doing that. Even to the point where he and Coach Jackson, who most of you have met because Coach Jackson has presented Sean with the other awards, Coach Jackson will work with him at 6:30 at night, 7 o'clock at night in the cage, pole vaulting, or 5 o'clock in the afternoon when it's getting dark in November, to make sure he gets his work done, because he's making sure he spends all of his time in the labs to get his project done that the demanding professors in the School of Engineering assigned to them. He's kind of a character, as some of you know if you've been here, but to be a pole vaulter, you've got to be kind of a character. You've got to be very resilient. You've got to be calm under pressure. Things go wrong when you're pole vaulting. You're coming down a runway with a fiberglass pole. The word glass always makes you wonder whether when that thing bends, is it going to bend and not break, or is it going to bend and break? He's hurling himself 16 feet in the air doing a handstand above an asphalt runway on a glass pole. And things can happen. You know, that bumper sticker, things happen. This year, twice in competition, things didn't quite work out in terms of his plan. He came down, and instead of landing on the pit, he landed on the pole vault standards, which are made of metal on the side of the pit, and shook his head a couple of times and gasped his breath, maybe got a drink of water or two, and came back and went on to complete the competition. And I think in both instances finished either first or second. So he does now currently hold the school record in pole vault, 16 feet, which was a college dream of his. It's our first time anybody's ever cleared that height. Great student, great person. He's going to represent the university very, very well in his profession, as he has in his athletic contest, and I'm sure I can say thank you for all supporting him in the past. Thank you for giving him this award, and Sean will be missed by the track program too, as well as the engineering school. Thank you very much.